Friday. We got a nice slate ahead of
Yeah, it's a
ourselves.
crazy slate tomorrow though, dude. It's like 10 or
Yeah.
11 games
Oh,
tomorrow. I was
it's
already looking
massive.
ahead. Like, yeah, it's crazy
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I
But
was
yeah, I'm
already
ready when you
looking.
guys are.
I'm live. We're live right
Yeah,
now.
sweet. Okay.
What's
Oh,
up? Happy
cool.
Friday to everybody. For those of you who were watching the college basketball show, welcome back. Long time no see. We got Crispy Cap in here making his debut on the show. And we were just talking about he's making his debut on the show in the worst NBA night of the year. Like, this sucks. If you were looking for an NBA night to take off betting, tonight might be the night. This is ugly. I do have some bets I like though. When I say some, really two with a possible third. But we'll get into it. First up is Hawks at Sixers, and the market kind of called my bluff here because I don't know if you guys watched the video I posted last night. So when I posted it, the line was 4.5, and I said my exact words were, I like the Hawks, but I don't like this number. If it drops down to 1.5, 2, I'll bet Atlanta. Now here it is at 2.5, and I'm like, oh shit, I did it wrong. Hawks are laying points. It's like they're like calling my bluff. Like, shit, am I actually gonna do it? Like, because it dropped. It did what I said it was gonna do, but now it comes to the time. Am I actually gonna place this bet? I haven't yet. I'll tell you that. Proppy, do you have anything for this one?
Yeah, I got a bet, but it's relying on Maxey going.
I thought he was upgraded to probable. I'm seeing
I thought he
probable.
was, if anything, I thought he was downgraded to questionable. I thought he.
RotoWire says very likely to play.
I saw
All right,
questionable
well.
too with an illness as of last thing on Underdog like a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
So maybe RotoWire's got this wrong.
Yeah, because that's confusing. I've been told that he's questionable.
So
for
your
tonight.
play
I mean,
is based on him sitting.
I know I need him to go because I'm trying to avoid a run.
I mean, look at the line movement. I think that points to him probably playing.
But what if that points to Buddy Hield and Cameron Payne playing? Because it was going to be them without them. Assumed.
Cameron Payne moves the line 2 points. I mean, come on.
I'll tell you what, guys, plays a hell of a point.
I like Cameron Payne.
I need Maxey to go. Why? Because they've lost their last 7 to 8 games, and in those losses, they're losing by an average of 16 points per game. I need a competitive ball game here. So if it's a competitive ball game, if Maxey's going, I like Jalen Johnson over 9.5 rebounds. Might actually do the double-double instead and save some vig on that. Last 2 games against Philly, he had 10 and 16 rebounds on an average of 19.5 chances per game. I mean, that's insane. We're talking like top center numbers in terms of rebound chances there. And he hasn't seen any bit of a decrease in minutes with Hunter back. He's played 35 plus minutes now in 9 straight games. 8 and 5 this season with 34 plus minutes on 1 day rest. 4 and 2 with 1 day rest on the road in those minutes, averaging 11 rebounds per game. So he's really clearing that line. And now taking forwards on the glass has been profitable against Embiid all year. We know that. But even without Embiid, we still see forwards going nuts on the glass against Philly. An opposing starting forward has cashed a rebound over in 14 of 16 games without Embiid, including Jalen Johnson himself with 16 in that one. So I like that angle there. May lock that in if we could get a good sign on Maxey. And then if Maxey doesn't go, I'm probably going to be considering a Tobias Harris over assists. The only point guard on the team is Cam Payne, who literally just joined the team today. So don't know if he's going to really be running that offense as effectively as maybe a Tobias Harris would. And then on top of that, I mean, this is just a thin rotation right now. This Hawks defense is still utterly atrocious. So that would be my plays here.
Chris, you got anything for this one?
Man, this is not a game that I'm really interested in playing. I really want to get there with the Hawks though. So I've been paying attention to you, Kyle, like throughout the week, man. And you've been a much braver man than myself because I kind of feel like, I'm definitely not catching the falling knife and taking the points with Philly. But I don't want to keep just like playing against them either. I do feel like they're gonna get a win, but I don't think it's gonna be against this Atlanta team. I just think about like all the outside of the injury news, like you're still missing Robert Covington, DeAnthony Milton, Joel Embiid, of course, Nicholas Batum, who I think is, really, really big, especially, with that hamstring injury. I think that's big on the defensive end. But then you got the guys that you traded away. So there's no Patrick Beverly. There's no, who else am I missing? Daniel House Jr. that just got let go as well. And Marcus Morris, right? So like rotational wise, I mean, KJ Martin gonna play 30 minutes tonight. Like, I still, Atlanta defense is terrible. I think it's like 20s, 25th, 26th. But Philly's defense is 29th over the last 5 games defensively. So Atlanta being, the better, offensive team, I think they are number 1 last 5 games offensive
they are
offensive rating. to me, it just feels like I know you don't want to. The golden rule is you never lay points with a team on the road when they can't get stops. But I think Atlanta should be able to win this game by multiple possessions,
Right.
even with Buddy Hield coming in there. So I really do lean towards Atlanta. But DeJounte Murray hasn't been confirmed in, and I'm definitely not pulling the trigger before I see DeJounte being in there because you need all hands on deck. Atlanta's already going to be shorthanded without Clint Capella in this spot. So DeJounte comes in. I think I'll lay the 3.5 in this spot.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And like I said, I haven't bet this yet. But what he said was spot on. The Hawks, one of the hottest offenses in the NBA against one of the coldest defenses. And then on top of that, we're talking about a Sixers team that's 30th in strength of schedule in the last 10 games, and the Hawks are third. So when I say one of the hottest offenses in the NBA, I'm talking about pure efficiency numbers, not schedule adjusted. So against the strongest schedule, the Hawks are one of the hottest offenses in the NBA against one of the strongest schedules, and the Sixers defense is not making stops against nobodies or against a very weak schedule. So we're taking the Hawks here. This line was 5. These graphics say 3.5. You can get 2.5. So these graphics were made about an hour ago. But that tells the story. The line is moving towards Philly. So this is a very square play. But there's just no way. I mean, if you eliminate what we know about the 76ers, right? Pretend we've watched the last month of basketball in a vacuum. It should be Atlanta minus 7.5. I mean, they've been so much better, and the Philadelphia truly has been so bad, and I've loved every second of it. Being a Knicks fan, I've loved every second of it. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we know that Philly can play, and maybe getting a couple guys back, maybe like a Covington, or like maybe getting some pieces back, and maybe we can find some spots to bet Philly down the stretch after the All-Star break when they get a little healthier, when campaign and stuff gets included into the lineup. But as of right now, I will not touch Philadelphia. I don't care what the line's doing. I don't care what the sharp money's doing. It would be Hawks or nothing for me. In fact, I kind of think I'm going to bet the Hawks. I think I'm going to say fuck the line movement. Honestly, I know what I'm seeing in the last couple of weeks on the court. It's pretty clear. I'm not going to bet it yet. But even if DeJounte Murray doesn't play, maybe that drops this line down to like a 1.5, and I take it. So Hawks or nothing for me. Let's see. And as expected, and this just goes further, 72% to 17% polling towards Atlanta. So you guys all like the Hawks too. We all like Atlanta. No one wants to bet that trash-ass city of Philadelphia. But clearly there's professional sharp money coming in on Philly because the line is moving. So we'll see. Maybe Maxey plays and Murray does it, and that explains the line movement. Who knows? Next. And if you're wondering, like, oh, let's get to some better games. You might be waiting until tomorrow's show for that. So Wizards at Celtics. And, I mean, look, I feel like they're begging me to take the Wizards here. And this is one I gave it out on YouTube. I said Wizards. I did not bet this one. And I posted a ticket last night on the website of my bets, and I didn't take this one. But I like the matchup. You know what? Before I'll let these guys go first, I like the matchup for Washington. It's just I hate the line. I almost would feel better if it was 10.5, to be honest. Prop Beaver, do you have anything for this crazy game?
Yeah, I'd probably lean two ways. Wizards plus 17 and the under at 235. I was trying to look for some Boston player props, kind of see who doesn't get the production in these blowout wins, but I'm not really seeing anything there. The Wizards have been a much better bet on the road this year. They're 4-0-1 against the spread, their last 5 on the road, and they've attacked the paint at a very high rate as late. They're second in paint frequency their last 10 games, and that's been the main area of struggle for the Celtics team. 26 in frequency, 19th in efficiency their last 10 games. But the reason I still like throwing in that under there for this game specifically is the fact that the Wizards, they're a team that thrives in transition. Boston defense first in transition efficiency, so that takes a bit of a hit there. But on the other side, this is a Celtics team that, as we all know, they've lived off the long ball all season, and that's been a strength for the Wizards defense over the last 10 games. The under 6-2, their last 8 matchups at Boston, 9-3 in the Celtics' last 12 games, and 8-1 in the both Wizards' last 9 overall and last 9 on the road. So I just think that normally taking an under in a game where one of the team racks the real center, that's concern, but Celtics don't really attack the rim like that. So pretty much. So I'm willing to take the points, and I'm willing to take the under here.
Yeah, and so Antonio Estevez is Admiral Thrawn from the Discord, by the way. So the guy always talking shit. The guy always talking shit in the Discord. That's him, Antonio Estevez. He says, if you bet the Celtics, you are a coward. All right, I'll go next, and I'll put my Wizards bet up. So obviously we're dealing with one of the best teams in the NBA against one of the worst. But this Wizards team, they're just road warriors, man. They just can't stop covering on the road. They're the 4th most profitable road team in the NBA. They're 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 on the road. We're getting 17 points. And honestly, on paper, it isn't even a terrible matchup. I mean, I'm a little worried because the Wizards do like to push the tempo and run the fast break, and the Celtics do have a great fast break defense. So that's a negative angle. But Wizards play great defense against a 3-point shot. This is a top 10 3-point defense over the last month. 17 points, man. I got to do it. I didn't bet it yet, but I'm going to. This isn't a lean. I'll take it. Washington plus 17. A couple comments in here like the over. They're fading you, Prop Beaver. He seems over it. Chris,
yeah, I mean,
anything on this
take
one?
the over.
Yeah, no. So going back to you guys' point, first of all, if you land 17 with the Celtics, you are, you're really thinking that they're going to be motivated in this spot. And I just don't see it. Last game of I think it's a 7-game homestand for them before they head to Miami and take on that Miami Heat team on Sunday. But I going back to what Prop Beaver said, the under to me makes a lot of sense, and I should have probably pulled the trigger yesterday. The only thing that kept me off was, first of all, not knowing the status of Jason Tatum. He was listed as questionable, and I think he did go through shoot around this morning. So still not sure if he's going to play or not. But I think the biggest thing that scared me off for this one is the Celtics have these games, right, where they score 150 points, 145 points. And I'm looking at what you mentioned in the beginning. I think you said it, Kyle, like no Daniel Gafford. You traded him to Dallas, and you also don't have Bagley. So I know you guys are saying like the Celtics defense, the Wizards defense does a really good job at the 3-point line, but Udoka got to be telling this guys like they defend the 3 well. We got to be able to put our head down and get to the rim because we can live in the paint. Jaylen Brown should have 125 points in this game by himself, and that scares me off the under, right? So I went in and kind of looked at it without Daniel Gafford. So outside of both of those guys being on the field, on the court, no Daniel Gafford, no Bagley, because they need one of them. They're a minus 15.1 in point differential, which is, very similar to what the spread is. They rank they rank in the bottom 1% per cleaning the glass and offensive rebounding, and their opponents are getting a ton of offensive rebounds. So that scared me off the under because I think Boston can score whatever it is that they want. But what I ended up playing was Boston Celtics first half team total over. I do think this is a game where they'll probably have 70 points at the end of the first half, just depending upon what we see with this Washington Wizards defense, like specifically, and they just love to push the pace. A similar situation for Boston. They scored 71 points versus the Jazz in the first half, 72 points against the Philadelphia 76ers in the first half. These were home games on Friday as double-digit favorites. They just turn up at the Garden on Fridays for whatever reason. You look at the Wizards as double-digit dogs. They're allowing 130 points per game when they're double-digit road dogs. And that was with holding the Knicks and the Cavs in the 2 most recent games to under 115. So I just, it's a lot of different ways I think Boston can, get to this team total over. The Celtics don't typically give up a lot of points at the beginning of the game. They give up points at the end of the game, like towards the second half. So they're allowing 69 points in the second half and only 60 in the first. Not like that's a good number, but we know Boston scores a lot more. They're one of the best first half teams in the league. They might be number 1 now because Milwaukee didn't cover in the first half yesterday. So I like the Celtics offense to kind of put this one away early. I think they do have about 70 points at the end of the first half. So it's a smaller play for me, but I did take Boston first half team total over to 65.5.
Celtics first half team total over 65.5. Our poll heavy on the Wizards, 68%, 14%. So heavy on the Wizards. Wizards plus 17 might be in the community parlay here. Next, Houston at Toronto. I already got my bet in for this one. I got it at plus closing line value. Started off the year getting crushed by it. I've been cleaning up closing line value. This is another one. I posted on the website. I gave out Rockets plus 3 last night, so I'll put that on the screen. There's a bunch of different things you could say here for the Rockets, but I think like the most glaring obvious one is I don't think people are quite realizing the gap between these two teams. It's not like, they're both two struggling teams. No, Toronto has been so bad, and Houston's actually been all right. 5-2 against the spread in their last 7, but more importantly, they're 10th in overall efficiency. We're talking about a Raptors team that's 29th. Like, they're closer to the Hornets than the Raptors are closer to the Hornets than the Raptors are close to the Rockets. Like, they're towards the back. Not that I think this Rockets team is anything special, but you know what? Matchup-wise, it's actually a favorable one as well. Houston's been attacking the rim a lot. They're second in rim frequency in the last 10 games. Toronto's been getting cooked at the basket recently. So Houston usually not the most efficient offense, and not having Fred VanVleet definitely hurts, but should be able to score baskets underneath. I'm sure prop. You actually just saw the prop. You're playing Thompson, right?
Yeah, I am playing.
I already know.
But I'm going defensive.
Oh, okay. But Houston should be able to score at the basket. And then the big one, the one that really put me onto the bet was Toronto's main strength offensively is the fast break, pushing the tempo. They're actually second in fast break frequency. They run the second most fast breaks in the NBA. We're talking about the Rockets. I mean, they're up there with the Oklahoma City. He's one of the best transition defenses in the NBA. I like the matchup. I think they're the much better team. In my opinion, the wrong team's favored here. I would take Houston all the way up to -3. So, yeah, I like the Rockets. I like the Rockets to win the game, and I love my position at Houston +3. Prop Beaver, or actually, Chris, you want to go first on this one? Actually, Chris is on the same play as me. I know that.
Yeah, so real quick, you laid out all the the matchup deficiencies in this one, or at least to our strengths in this one, Kyle. So I'll just piggyback and talk about the situational spot, man. I'm a spot better, and let me give out a couple numbers as well. So last 2 weeks, Toronto actually ranks bottom 5, and I mean you kind of talked about it, offensive and defensive efficiency. At least you got Houston as second in defensive efficiency. So even though they got smoked and were giving up points left and right, against the Indiana Pacers, that says a lot that the defense is still ranked in, second in efficiency. But as far as the spot in this one, bad spot. So I do a lot of like SDQL and sports data query language on these websites. So dating back to 1996, so way back in time, home favorites laying 3 points or less, returning home from a 6-game road trip, which is what the Toronto Raptors are doing in this spot. Just 29 and 31 straight up. That's 48%. 26 and 34 against the spread, 43%. So the percentages are with me here. And if the home favorite is playing on the first leg of a back-to-back, which Toronto Raptors are, they're just 2-8 against the spread. So what that's saying is what that overall query is saying is that when teams are returning home from a long road trip, and the odds makers project that it's going to be a pretty tight game, they typically don't win those games. So that, in conjunction with everything that you just said, as far as the actual numbers in this one, I was a little hesitant. I'll tell you that though, Kyle, because I did want Fred VanVleet, who looks like he's not going to be back until after the All-Star break. I did want him in. I don't trust his team as much, but I do think that they got enough in this spot. So don't I wouldn't say that this is the greatest spot in the world, but I do think that Houston wins this game outright today. So I'll take the 1.5 as well.
Yeah, and it looks like the community's polling heavy on the Rockets as well. And that would worry me because when I first looked at it, it almost seemed like too obvious. But then I like the line dropping. That makes me a lot more confident down to 1.5. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is close to a pick by tip-off. Prop Beaver, I know you got a Thompson prop. You love those Thompson brothers, man. You bet those guys.
I do. I love the Thompson brothers. They're cash cows, man. They're just so good. They're so versatile. They do everything. And per minute, they're like insane in terms of production. Yeah, so I just want to say, with you on Houston, you basically encapsulated everything I said. I love the Rockets here, even though they're on the road, even though they're trash on the road. I mean,
they're 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 on the road.
I saw that. And on top of it, I mean, this Toronto team plays works at home. They're just bottom of the barrel and everything right now. I don't really care that they got their full 5 back. They're just really, really bad right now. And they just can't cover the spread. So I'm taking the Thompson brother. I'm taking him over 2.5 steals plus blocks here. I considered the points and rebounds. I was really back and forth between the two. I wasn't trying to put 2 units on a guy. You never know with injury, blowout, all that. I just thought that at the plus 135 price compared to the minus 110, this was the better way to go. So just a great price. Thompson has a great ability to rack up defensive stats, and now he has increased minutes. He's 96th percentile in block percentage, 90th plus percentile in steal percentage. So the kid's an animal. He's now facing a Raptors team that's 24th in offensive turnover percentage over the last 10 games. And we've seen a ton of guys clear their steal plus block marks with ease against the Raptors in their last 9 games. I'm not going to go ahead and list all these guys, but 16 different players have cashed this number in the Raptors' last 9 games. And while most of those guys are good defenders like Alvarado, like Dyson Daniels, like OG Anunoby, if you have the rate of steals plus blocks that Amen Thompson does have, with 18 plus minutes, he's cashed his last 5 of 8 games, averaging 2.4. With 23 plus minutes, he's cashed his last 3 or 4. His 2 starts without VanVleet, we're getting 33 and 34 minutes. He only played 24 minutes his last time out against Toronto. The game just happened, I believe, like less than a week ago, and he had 3 steals plus blocks. So I think with more minutes at the price, it just makes too much sense for me to pass on. So I really like Amen Thompson to keep it going on the defensive end, and for the Raptors to keep playing some sloppy ball.
Juice is on Thompson, too. He posted it right as you started. He's on Thompson over 12.5 rebounds and assists.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Any way you're betting Amen Thompson today, I like it.
And that homie with the big feet, I don't know how much you paid that guy, Prop Fever, to come in here, but every single time.
Didn't pay him.
Yeah, that's like your best friend from high school or something that you paid to come in here. So, Prop Fever's the best.
Big feet.
Prop Fever's the best.
Nah, I get just people support the brand. I don't know what to say.
78% 12. So like I said, everyone's on Houston here. Now, part of that might be this is my channel, and I put up a video saying Houston last night, and I've been hot, so a lot of people might just be tailing me. But I would imagine most of the public's going to be on the Rockets here, I would think. Next game, Charlotte on the road at Milwaukee. Either of you guys bet this one yet? I mean, tell me you don't want to bet Hornets plus 14. I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it. I got 2 bets in this one, potentially. So I got the one that I definitely like, Hornets plus 14.5. I know it's a suicide mission with how horrendous they've been lately, but have you seen the Milwaukee Bucks? 4-16 now against the spread their last 20 games. And then really just historically, the Hornets have really played the Bucks extremely well. And I've known that from betting these games in recent history. I mean, they've covered their last 9 of 13 matchups overall and their last 4 or 5 at Milwaukee. The Hornets over the last 10 games, they've been relying a lot on the long mid-range and the above the break 3. And those are the 2 weak spots in the Bucks defense during that span. I mean, the Bucks defense as a whole doesn't look good, but those are the 2 specific weak spots. And then on the other side, you got the Bucks themselves who love shooting the long mid-range. And weirdly enough, the Hornets are the best defense in the league against the long mid-range over the last 10 games. On top of that, this Bucks offense is just coming to a screeching halt right now. They're 16th in offensive efficiency in their last 10 games, 25th in their last 5 games. So I think 14.5 points just isn't justified right now, no matter who the Bucks are playing. And then the other one I'm going to look at is Giannis over 7.5 assists. It's listed at minus 130 right now. Middleton's out. Lillard's questionable again tonight. And in his lone game without the duo, we saw Giannis record 7 assists on 15 potentials against a brutal T-Wolves defense, despite playing just 27 minutes. So if you project that to his normal minutes, we'd be getting about 20 potential assists here, which is insane. The last time he faced off against Charlotte, he had 9 assists on 15 potentials, and that was despite both Lillard and Middleton active. With 30-plus minutes, he's gone over his last 8 of 12 games, his last 6 of 8 at home, averaging 9.8. And what I really want to point out is if Lillard goes, I still think there's value here. I'm just waiting to bet on it because if he goes, we're going to get a discount. And if he doesn't go, sure, it'll be a number higher, but it's going to be getting a ton of potential assists. He'll be getting all that defensive attention. 30-plus minutes without Middleton and with Lillard. He's 2-2 to the over, but he's averaging 9 assists per game on 17.8 potentials. What I really like is that 133 of Giannis's 318 assists this year have gone to the above the break 3-point, and the Hornets have been bad at defending that spot all year. Last 10 games, they're 21st in above the break frequency, 24th in efficiency. So I'm going to wait on that, but I do like Giannis over assists tonight, definitely.
I feel like what perfectly encapsulates what's been going on with Milwaukee is this YouTube comment I got last night on the video. Is a guy commented, he was like, "Hey Kyle, big fan from Milwaukee. Don't bet on the Bucks right now. Like things are so bad out there. We don't know what's going on." And it was like heartfelt, like I felt I should have responded with, "Oh, bro, thoughts and prayers." like it was like some kind of like natural disaster, like they got hit with a hurricane or something. So yeah, I'll put Hornets plus 14.5 on the screen, but no, didn't bet it. Chris, you have anything for this one?
Absolutely not, man. First off, I need to. I don't know about you guys, but I like to place my bets after I know exactly what's going on with the injury report. And not knowing about Damian Lillard, I also saw Patrick Beverley tweeted out, "Somebody tell Campaign to take his physical. I'm trying to play tonight, so he could potentially be in this game." Like I have no idea what's going on with this game. I do know on the Charlotte side, that team is not good when you got Leaky Black out there and Nick Richards. But I can't get there with the Bucks.
Yo, Nick Richards has been balling a little bit.
He has. I'll give him a little credit. But I mean, we know how brutal this Bucks team has been. I think they're 1-6 as a home favorite, laying double digits this season. 1-6 against the spread. So it should be a game where, absolutely turn up. And I do think, just in all seriousness, I do think that once Patrick Beverley gets acclimated to this team, we'll see the defense pick up from the guard position for sure. And then that's when you probably can start, backing the Bucks, because to lay these big numbers with the Bucks, you got to be able to get stops. And this team absolutely cannot get stops. So as bad as Charlotte's been, it's the only way I'd be able to look in this one as well. But I'm not betting this one, especially without the injury news. This one also, Chris Middleton's ruled out. Yeah. Jay Crowder will be back in, which hurts the offense and should help the defense. But can Jay Crowder even move his legs and knees laterally anymore? I'm not sure. So I'm not sure how good his defense is either. So I'm off of this game, but I'll probably be taking the points with Charlotte here.
And what he's talking about.
I was looking at his estimated plus minus defensively, Jay Crowder, before this, and it wasn't nearly as good as I thought it would be. Very underwhelming compared to what I knew Jay Crowder as a defender on the Suns.
Makes a lot of sense, probably.
And if what you talk about right here, I brought up the injury report. You can see the Hornets side flooded. Leaky Black getting the start at 3, it looks like. I will say, you know what, now that Pat Beverly's questionable, though, I placed a bet. It was early in the season, and there was one game where remember Cam Payne was hurt for like the first month, and like 4 hours before the game, Damian Lillard was ruled out. And I just went and blindly took, I think it might have been the Hornets. I swear to God. I forget who it was. Blindly took the money line on the other side. It was a bad team, and it hit just because I was like, yo, they don't have another point guard on the roster. So I thought we might have been looking at another one of those, but it now looks like Lillard and Beverly are both questionable. But a point guard, I don't know if that's a position you could just throw out there. Like, if it's Beverly, has he ever even played with these guys before? This game's crazy. 60%, 22% Hornets. So that's the way community's leaning also. Next. Denver at Sacramento. All right. Chris, I know you have a bet for this one because I have a graphic for you.
Yes, sir. I'll jump right into it. So we got the Denver Nuggets. They will be, in Sacramento tonight, taking on the Sacramento Kings team. Denver coming off the win. I had a feeling Denver was going to win last night, man. They just played my Lakers really, really tough. I'm a diehard Laker fan, and I'm so glad I stayed off so I didn't become emotionally and financially invested. So I was just emotionally hurt. But I'm looking at Denver. I took their team total over in this spot here. Staying away from the spread just because they are in the second leg of a back-to-back, and they have fared well in those spots. But the Kings have also played pretty well. The Kings as home favorites, though, and I made some money. We know the Kings are coming off the road trip, and I made some money with them on the road when they're laying, 3, 4, 5 points. But at home, we just saw it against Detroit, right? Like, this team is not a team you want to be laying points with at home, and specifically it's because of the defense. The Kings they've soared over the totals at home because the defense is not as good. And they've stayed under the totals at, on the road because for whatever reason, they play better defense when they go on the road. So at home, 14-7 to the over. 11 of their last opponents have actually gone over their team total. They're allowing 122 points per game in this spot, just at home. Like, if they're at home and a favorite, they're giving up $122 off the jump. And while Denver also, Denver does play pretty slow. They last in pace. Sacramento will try to run them in this spot, in my opinion. And if you guys remember back early in the season, Mike Brown actually said after the game they caught Denver in the same exact spot. They had 2 days of rest, and Denver had none. So it was the same exact spot, except in this spot they got 1 day of rest. And they caught them in the back-to-back. The Nuggets scored 117 points in that game, and that's because Sacramento was trying to run up and down the floor. And that was a game without Jamal Murray. That game was played at a pace of 106.0. So, Denver, I looked into the numbers, of course, with Jamal Murray in and Jamal Murray out. I don't have to give you guys those numbers, but they are a plus 6.1 in point differential with Jamal Murray on the floor. So that helps this as well. And then going back to finish this off with Sacramento's defense, they've been a home favorite versus an unrested opponent 5 times this season. Guess how many times their opponent had gone over their team total? All 5. So they're allowing 127.6 points per game. When their opponent is unrested, the only team to actually not score 115 points was the Charlotte Hornets. And they didn't need to. They scored 111 and beat them outright anyway. So I love Denver's team total over 114 in this spot. I do think that, Denver might let up off the gas a little bit. Sacramento might push the pace, but we know Sacramento just wants to score. And then they'll let you score because they just want to get the ball back so they can score again. So give me Denver team total over 114.5 in the spot.
Okay, I like that because I'd actually lean over, but I'm on the Kings. But Prop Beaver?
This is probably the game I have the least on today. I don't really have any firm pick in this game. I gotta say, though, I probably would lean Denver. I know the Kings are the so-called sharp side in this one, but I just don't really trust them. I feel like they're a team that I've looked to constantly fade, and they tend to let people down a lot. I mean, the game against the Pistons was disgraceful.
That was a horrible spot.
Okay, but I know coming off of that, right? You'd think, oh well, now they got this game of deck. They have another game tomorrow in terms of a back-to-back, the Kings, so they have to look forward to that, and that's against the Thunder too. So it's not like any joke or anything. I'm just really not loving what the Kings are putting out there in terms of basketball lately. And while I don't love backing the Nuggets on the road, and I don't really like backing them on 0 days rest either, they have played extremely good defense in these spots, first in defensive efficiency, and I'm just not buying it. I'd rather take the points with Denver.
I'm on the Kings, but this is another one where I got some good closing line value. I got the Kings last night as a pick of -112. So I'm holding a Kings money line ticket right now. But I'd still take them at -2.5. I just feel like there's a lot of recency bias, I'll say, going on. I'd also lean towards the over. I almost put Kings and over, by the way. So if you remember, I should say we bet, because we pretty much all took it in the Discord, Pistons money line against the Kings the other night. And do you remember the reasoning for that? Let's rewind 48 hours. It was, this is a worst spot ever for the Kings. They're returning from a 7-game road trip. They've got the Nuggets on deck. And that's the phrase you need to circle. They've got the Nuggets on deck. That's why they lost to the Pistons, because they were looking at this one. Not to mention, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but basically in all sports, teams coming off a humiliating loss usually have a very good hit rate in the next game. This Kings team was looking good. They were looking good. It's just this Kings team was letting people down earlier in the year, so it only took one for people to be like, oh, fuck the Kings, they suck. Seems like they forgot that they go 6-1 on that road trip right before that Pistons game. I like the way the Kings are playing. Now, I know laying points with the Kings as a whole is a terrible decision, but I don't even think that this feels like a Kings is our favored type game, because it opened up as basically a pick 'em. It's the Nuggets, the defending champs. Like, do you really does that the feel of this game, that the Kings are supposed to win? I don't think the line indicates that they are favored, but when I think of the trend, don't bet the Kings, don't lay the points at home with the Kings. I'm not talking about the Nuggets. I'm talking about the Spurs when they're laying 9.5. I'm not talking about against the defending champs. I think the Kings show up for this game. I think they push the pace, something that the Lakers should have done last night against the Nuggets, because the Nuggets have struggled defensively in transition. I think the Kings handle it tonight. I wouldn't even be surprised if someone sits for the Nuggets. We'll see, though. But even if everyone goes, the Nuggets have been one of the least profitable road teams in the NBA this year. So even if everyone plays for the Nuggets and they give it their 100% effort, I still think my bet has some value. So I like the Kings. I think they put up a big number. I think the Kings score close to 130 tonight.
Well, I got good news for you again, because what is it? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is questionable again. And if he's questionable, who the hell is guarding De'Aaron Fox?
Nobody. That's
certainly not Jamal Murray.
Probably, but you didn't have a prop on De'Aaron Fox. I think he had like 12 points on 5 for 12 shooting in the last game. I figured somebody would be on his over today, not you.
I feel like the entire community's on his over today. That's the one thing.
See, that's Prop Beaver's fault. He's always worried about what
it is my fault.
He's worried about the rest of the community is doing.
Hey, look, so just real quick before we transition, Kyle. So looks like so I wanted to give you some analysis, some proof to what you were saying. So the Kings specifically off a home loss when they're at home in their next game, 5-0, 5-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread this season so far. So that does back your Kings look here. Like the world is not, the world is not falling. We can still like the game after. Like, it's not 2 losses, it's just 1. So that bodes well for you. And then also injury information. Patrick Beverley is available to make his Bucks debut. Max Christie in this next game we're about to talk about listed as doubtful. D'Angelo Russell probable. AD questionable. LeBron James questionable.
Yeah, that's an ugly one. I'm not looking forward to talking about that one. But yeah, I'm on the Kings here, but the community disagrees with me because it's 47%, 42% in favor of Denver. So Nuggets money line will get a shot to be on the community parlay, even though I think they lose. Next,
you know what I might do, honestly, in this game? De'Aaron Fox, but over points and assists instead, because his last 2 times he faced the Nuggets at home, he had 16 and 13 assists. So even if he doesn't have the best score at night, he could just go off with the assists. It's kind of like a win-win.
Some Fox P&A?
Little PA.
Yep, so Nuggets win the poll. Last game up, I'm going to make Chris start on this one because I don't really know what I'm going to say yet. No, I'm letting you start because I'm still like collecting my thoughts here.
So as a Laker fan, I'm still collecting my thoughts as well, Kyle. We got absolutely smashed last night. Well, I wouldn't say absolutely smashed, but I mean, just
It was more
late
just like
game
an embarrassing
execution.
way to go down at the end. When
Yeah,
LeBron missed that
but
floater.
I kind of thought about that before, when I first saw the line. I said, man, 3.5, man, the Lakers can keep this close. But I remember having a big ticket on the Lakers last year in the Western Conference Finals in Game 3 after Denver had went up 2-0, and everybody thought the Lakers were going to come back home and split, and it was the most competitive sweep I think I've ever seen in my life, but it was brutal. It was tough to deal with as a Laker fan, and I of course had the bet on opening night. Lakers going to get their revenge and ruin ring ceremony night for Denver. And I mean, you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. They call that insanity. So I was not on the Lakers last night, but and it's not good to take them on the second leg of a back-to-back. They've not done well in this spot, of course. What are they? 2-6, 2-6 straight up, 1-7 against the spread. You got a Pelicans team that's well rested. I do worry about them being in LA because we know when they go to big cities with palm trees and a lot of entertainment. We'll just say that. They can fall flat on their face, as we saw in the in-season tournament when the Lakers absolutely throttled them. But they did get their revenge. They won that next game against the Lakers, 129-109 in New Orleans. They were getting they were laying points in that spot, but they absolutely smoked the Lakers, and the Lakers were on the second leg of a back-to-back in that spot as well. So I know Zion's still listed as questionable. Valanciunas left the last game against the Clippers, and he's listed as questionable, and Najee Marshall is as well. You do want those guys in. I think so. You want those guys in if you want to lay with the Pelicans. But this isn't the game I'm super interested in from the side perspective. I do like the total in this one though, and I like the under. Probably should have just played it last night when they opened at 235.5. But the Lakers, I just talked about it, man. They're injured, and you listen to the post game interviews. I typically do. I like to hear from him. I like to hear from AD, LeBron. And everybody just blaming the injuries. Everybody, once we get healthy, we'll be a lot better. What do the Lakers need? We just need to get healthy. We need bodies. And you see Max Christie go down last night. I mean, D'Lo is coming back. That helps because they are 0-5 straight up and against the spread without D'Lo this season. But I like it from that perspective. The Lakers are also 16-10 to the under at home. That's 61.5%. The same way the Kings go over at home and go under on the road, the Lakers go over on the road, of course, and go under at home. 3-0 to the under when they're playing unrested at home this season. And when they're playing competitive team, 55% win percentage or better for their opponent. They're 8-2 to the under. I think that they'll give max effort in this spot again after taking a lot of criticism for the lack thereof last night, and how emotional the day was in LA. And the Pelicans, looking at the Pelicans, 6 rated defense over the last 5 games. They're playing at a bottom 10 pace as well, not as fast as we typically know them to play. And I think the only way the Lakers going to keep this game close is if they play defense, because the Pelicans can score the ball. We know that they're, a pretty good 3-point shooting team. The Lakers don't defend the 3-point line well at all. So give me the under in this one. I do think it'll be the Lakers will try to keep it competitive. So they'll have to slow the game down. You don't want to run with the Pelicans in this spot, especially being unrested. So under 233.5 in this one for me, fellas.
That's definitely the way I'd go as far as the total too, is the under. Prop Beaver, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I like 2 picks in this game, and then one thing I just want to add that would help in Chris's case is that on a 0 days rest this year, the Lakers are 27th in offensive efficiency, but they're still 13th in defensive efficiency. So they've been playing some bad offense, but they've been just good enough defensively. So I definitely like that. That's also where I would lean in this game in terms of a total. The first play that I would probably want to talk about, Ingram over 23.5 points. It's his return to LA. And I just really like the matchup for him. After a slew of blowouts in games where he forgot he could shoot the ball, there was a stretch where I don't know what his usage rate was. It might have been less than 17%. It was getting insane. But we're starting to finally see him return to some normal volume here. His last 6 games, he shot 15+ field goal attempts in 5 of them, averaging 18.5 per game. And he cashed for over in 4 of them, averaging 25.5 points per game. Now he's going to face his old team, as I mentioned, in LA, with potentially no Zion and Valanciunas. They're both questionable. I could see Zion going, but I'd be a bit surprised if Joe Val goes in this one, considering he left that last game early, didn't return. And on top of that, they're on the first leg of a back-to-back to Pels, so I could see one of them sitting here. Even if both play, we've seen B.I. be aggressive in getting his shots up against his old team. He's had 17+ field goal attempts his last 6 or 7 against the Lakers, going over in 5 of them, averaging 24.6 points per game. And the volume is important for B.I. because with 15+ field goal attempts, he's cashed his last 17 to 21 games, averaging 28 points per game. He's also hit that in his last 11 to 13 on the road with that volume, averaging 27 points per game. The main reason I'm really getting to the over here, despite getting scorned by BI this season a bit, is the fact that there's no Reddish, there's no Vanderbilt. Who else has the size and defensive ability to guard him on the roster? LA specifically against shooting guards the last 30 days, they're allowing the most points per game, 7th most three-pointers made, and against his shooting profile, according to Courtside Pal, they're allowing the 4th most points per game on the season. Ingram shoots that long mid-range more than probably anybody in the NBA. Him and DeRozan are going neck to neck. 30% of his shots are coming there. And the Lakers, that's their weakness over the last 10 games. 22nd in both long mid-range frequency and efficiency. So I think that he's going to go off here, and I think that he has a really great game. In terms of the game pick, I'm going to take the Pels. Lakers on back-to-backs, 1-7 against the spread. We got the Pels who are surging. They're 4-1 against the spread the last 5, 9-4 against the spread the last 13 on the road. As I mentioned, I think BI could cook him from long mid-range. And while Jonas Valanciunas is in danger of missing tonight, I think Nance Jr. is actually a step up defensively, despite being a bit undersized. Also has the added motivation of playing his old team, so he should really be up for this one. I'm going to lay the points with the Pels, and I'm going to take the over on BI here.
All right. So I didn't bet this game yet, but hear me out. So last night, I took a loss with the Lakers. The whole world was on the Lakers for the Kobe thing. They lost, right? Everyone was watching too. Like everyone was tweeting about that game. Everyone was watching it. So now take a look at the polls. Take a look at the pie charts. Everyone is anti-Lakers.
Cal, you about to bet the Lakers, aren't you?
Yeah. I didn't do it yet, but I think the Lakers win this game. Now, what Prop Beaver said is 100% true about the mid-range shot. Pelicans shoot a ton of those, specifically Ingram. And the Lakers, that's their weakness. So that's a bad matchup for the Lakers. But what do the Lakers do a ton of? Attack the basket. And we're talking about a Pelicans team that's weak protecting the rim and probably going to be without Valanciunas as well. I think it's just like, and now this is probably isn't the best reasoning for placing your bets, but like, let's just look at it from like the public view. Everyone rides the Lakers hard last night for Kobe night. Everyone spends the entire night tweeting about how much LeBron sucks and how Kobe's legacy was tarnished and all this shit. All night tweeting that. Now everyone in the world is betting the Pelicans. Look at the line. At 6 a.m. this morning, the Lakers were laying a half point. They were minus 115 on the money line. I'm seeing a 3.5, a plus 3.5 on DraftKings now. Everyone just money flooding in on the Pelicans, and I think that they just overplayed their hand a bit. I think this is the one the Lakers win now, is while everyone's hating on them and everyone's doubting them, this is the one they win. And I think, a side note, I think Jonah Valanciunas is a much more important piece to the Pelicans than people give him credit for. I think he's real. I love Valanciunas. I think he's good as hell. And without him, I think the Lakers are going to have nonstop trips to the foul line and get nonstop buckets at the paint. So, look, I know everyone's going to hate this one. Everyone's clicking on the Pelicans. Go ahead, side with Prop Beaver. We'll see you at the window.
I will say that you are right about the letdown theory. I feel like when everybody's on something one night, everybody goes all in on it. They lose, disappointing fashion. Usually everybody's disgusted, and then the next game they hit. I know that, especially that with player props. I mean, Kuminga, I bet him the last 2 times. They were both community plays. Next game, he goes over. So I could definitely see that here. I think you got that sharp as hell, Kyle. I must say, you kind of talked me onto the Lakers.
I don't have 75,000 subscribers by accident, Prop Beaver.
Shut the hell up, bro.
68%, 20% in favor of the Pelicans. Everyone's betting the Pels, except me. I'm on my own little Lakers island. I didn't actually post this on the website yet, so if you're subscribed and you're like, wait a second, I didn't see this, I'm waiting. I think I might be able to get a Lakers plus 155 closer to tip-off, playing the money line. Let's go. All right. So let's put together a community parlay. We got 6 games, so it's not like we have a ton of options, and a couple of these games are like 100-point spreads, but we can figure something out. So they voted for the Hawks. Let's add the Hawks money line. Wizards Celtics. Why don't we put Wizards plus 17.5 on there? Because they did vote for that, and I think people would vote for it, but I don't think Wizards money line would get votes. Rockets money line. Hornets at Bucks. Let's go Hornets plus 14.5 because that got a lot of votes. First leg. Yeah, okay, Bob. He says his model has Lakers. Mine does too. My model says 116, 115 Lakers outright. So mine does also. All right, let's see where the votes are coming in. Looks like Hawks are getting a lot of attention. Oh, and real quick, while people are voting, Chris, when do you upload? When's your show? If people want to check out your stuff, how would they do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So Crispy Capping, 2 P's, 2 N's on Twitter, also on YouTube as well. Do a daily show almost like right after your show, Kyle. I typically start at 5 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Getting into doing some night shows as well. As we get more data throughout the NBA season, I do like to try to get ahead. I do think that the lines get sharper. Now, of course, at this time of the season, when you got, last week we've had DeJounte Murray pretty much tied to every NBA team, WNBA team, and college team that was interested in them. So, you got to watch out for those the injuries and the trade deadlines and all those different talks. But I've been, doing a few more, night shows, early morning shows as well. And then, like I said, on Twitter and on X and YouTube. So definitely check me out over there. Follow all my work if you want to.
And I think I retweeted something, or I will. So if you follow me, I'll either retweet something of his so you can see his account on Twitter, or X, I should say. Hawks Moneyline gets the first. So this was yesterday's, by the way. Who blew this? Oh, it was the Lakers. Great. So Hawks Moneyline is the first one. And Rockets was second place. So I would imagine Houston's going to be in there. In fact, let's put Rockets in there. There's no way all of them are going to beat the Rockets. So Hawks and Rockets, Rockets got second place in the poll. And then we got Nuggets won that poll. So it'll be Nuggets Moneyline, Pelicans Moneyline. And then we'll put Wizards plus 17.5 on here because it did get a lot of votes. So we're going to take, I'll put Hornets plus 14.5 too. Might as well. First and second place from this poll will complete the community parlay. So first and second place. This parlay is cooked, someone said. He's probably talking about... No, actually, I don't know what he's talking about because everyone liked the Rockets and Hawks. So I don't know which one... BJ, what leg? What leg is cooking it? You got to be more specific. I don't know which one you're talking about. Or maybe just saying in general before it even... This parlay's cooked.
I mean, to be fair, it is the Hawks on the road who are horrendous against the spread, and it is the Rockets who are like, what?
Oh, you should bet the Sixers then. Bet the Sixers then. Probably bet the Sixers.
I'm defending BJ. Have some class, okay?
We also got to remember how we started the show, Kyle. You said this, if you're looking to bet basketball on this night, so it's no telling what's going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And now you're coming at me confidently. Like, get the hell out of here.
Nah, we will not tolerate any pro Philadelphia on the show.
I mean, I agree.
All right, let's give it another few seconds. It looks like it's going to be Pellies and Nuggets, though, which is solid because that's probably the 4 best games, too. Let's give it another few seconds. Super Bowl video. Actually, me and Prop Beaver just finished it.
Yep.
So Prop Beaver's coming over to the office after this. We're going to probably make it tonight. Either upload it late night or tomorrow. It'll be uploaded sometime in the next 16 hours. How about that? It's all written, though. We're ready to rock. Did you add some of your props? I was hoping you added some of your props into the video. A lot of people don't watch that.
You know what? I could do that. I tweeted 2 props out earlier this morning, actually. Ayuk under receiving yards and Debo over rushing yards. So, yeah, we can put that
Ayuk's under is always money. Guy sucks.
Shut the hell up, bro. No, me and Kyle have a beef because he said that Jerry Jeudy was better than Brandon Ayuk, and that's just truly a heinous statement.
He's more talented.
Okay.
Can you get me the odds on this parlay, please, dude?
Yeah, I will, boss. It's plus 1055. Wow, that's a fat one,
Okay,
guys.
community. Okay,
yeah.
So today's community parlay. Hawks moneyline, Rockets moneyline, Nuggets moneyline, Pelicans moneyline. I think the Kings are messing this up. I think the Nuggets are going to lose. I'm telling you guys. But
so
hey.
Play it twice.
Or just take the Nuggets out. So, yeah, that's community parlay. Thanks, as always, for watching. So if you're a college basketball person, we'll be back 10:30. Well, not we. These guys won't be here. I will. It'll be me, Toast, and Andy tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. We have 19 college basketball games lined up for that. It's a huge, probably the best college basketball slate of the year so far. It's loaded with games. So 10:30 a.m. Eastern time if you want to catch that. I'm going to try to do an NBA show tomorrow because there is a ton of games. So I'm going to try to come back at 4 p.m. tomorrow, but I don't have a guest lined up. We got to get Chris back next week. Well, maybe we'll line up a day of the week because Ski said he wants to do Wednesdays. So send me a DM and let me know which day that is cool for you, and we'll get you back on here. Yeah, everyone, it's not the greatest night for betting, so bet responsibly. Let's make a few dollars. See you guys tomorrow.